Okay, we are picking up from the last video. We have created our parameter table in Fusion in our Lego Brick Going Forward file. We've added formulas to our parameter table. So now we need to apply the parameters we've created to our design. Okay? All right, so I'm going to close my parameter table. And it looks like don't need that. All right, to apply the parameters, we are going to go to our timeline and we are going to apply our parameters to each step of the timeline. So, first sketch, I'm hovering over it, click on it, right click, edit sketch. And I'm going to drag my dimension lines in so you can see them. Double click on the width. Notice that my parameter width applies to width, right? So you need to name your parameters to something that's relevant so you'll know which one you want to select. Okay, I've typed in width, then it's displayed for me. I selected the parameter that displayed for me to make sure that I have the correct spelling and have chosen the right one. Now, so 31.8 down here is just a value. 15.8 is my value in the width, but it's got fx in front of it. That fx means that it's being derived from a parameter, whether a value is entered for the parameter or a formula. All right, let's change our length. Guess what I named it? There it is. Started typing length, select length, hit enter. Okay, I've modified or adapted this step, this sketch, to my parameters in parametric design. So I'm done with this first sketch. Finish sketch. Close it out. All right, home position is there. Go to the second step, which is our extrude. Okay, right click on it. Edit feature. It brings up my extrude. There's my dimension box up, and I'm going to set this to height. As I start to type it in, it gives me my options. I'm selecting it, and everything else is good. Click OK. The extrude is taken care of. Now, the extrude will be controlled by my parameter height. So I go into my parameter table and change the height. The brick height will change. Sketch 2. As I go forward, right click, edit sketch. Okay, I've got 3 items here I need to update. Let's start off with the top connector diameter. Double click. And TC, it's a top connector item, so all my top connector parameters started off with TC. Keeps it organized. There's TC diameter. Select it. Enter. I'm going to go my positioning. This is my position to width. Center point to the end, the width side. Double click, TC, position width. Enter. And my last one, TC, position length. Enter. Okay, all 3 items are updated. Finish sketch. All right, the last item I have right here would be my extrude, or not my next item, not my last item. Right click, edit feature, my extrude, TC height, top connector again, TC. Click OK. It's good. My fillet, the fillet I applied to the edge. Edit feature, right click, edit feature, TC fillet. Yep. Enter. Done. Okay, this one's going to get harder. All right, everything's been real easy at the moment. We now have our rectangular pattern. So I'm going to right click, edit feature. And now I have to update the distance, that 24 millimeters. So at 24 millimeters is this gap, and this gap. We've done this, haven't we? Yeah, we have. Open one parenthesis. TC, number of top connectors per row, minus 1, shift, close parentheses, multiply by connector spacing. There's our formula. Tab. Okay, we're down here. You will find these formulas on the final document on Workspace. So this is simply the number of top connectors per row, TC per row. Okay, so once again, this was the distance was the top connectors, open parenthesis, top connector per row, TC per row, minus 1, close parentheses, times the connector spacing. That's the distance box. The quantity is the number of top connectors per row. Okay, so this takes care of the blue arrow here, our row. Let's get the rows done. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this arrow. Look there, it became active. I didn't move the arrow, I just clicked on it. All right, now so let's open a parentheses. Rows, TC, how many rows of top connectors we have, minus 1, close parentheses, times connector spacing. All right, tab, and this is rows, TC. All right, so, okay, I paused the video for just a second as they were doing dismissal. All right, so we got rows of TC there as our second quantity. The second distance was the rows of top connectors minus 1 in parentheses times connector spacing. That was the distance. The quantity for the second quantity down here was rows TC. Okay. All right, that all looks good. Notice how my pattern is right back where I had it. We're going to click OK. There it is. Okay, so we look good. Now, we need to edit our next item, which is our shell. And this is going to be our wall thickness. Okay. That's all we got to do. Hit enter. Click OK. So our wall thickness is now set to a parameter. Now this one, let's see what we've got to do here. Let's right click and edit sketch. So this is our last sketch. This is where we created our bottom connector. Okay, I want to flip it over and show the bottom. There we are. Now, we're going to need to update our construction circle here to be top connector diameter. Okay, so let's go ahead and update that one. So instead of being 5 millimeters, top connector diameter. This way, if we ever need to change it, the diameter of our top connectors, the sketch on the bottom, the snapping to tangent of our bottom connector will happen automatically. Now, this distance, we need to change that. Okay, this is our sketch dimensioning where we position this top connector 3.9 millimeters plus 8 millimeters over from the left edge. So we're going to do top connector position to width plus connector spacing, and that will give us our 11.9 millimeters. Hit enter. There it is. This will be our top connector. Underscore position to length. Hit enter. Okay. Now, this circle does not have a dimension on it. All right. There's no dimension there. So we do not have, it's handled by a constraint. So we don't have to modify that. All right, now the offset. That's going to be absolutely fine as well because that will stay in position. Okay, that's good. That's all we need to do. Let's hit finish sketch. Those other positionings were just symbolic to show you that it was a replication of the top connector or the position of the top connector in the bottom left-hand corner. Those were, we actually used the sketch back, sketch number 2, where we did the top connector. All right, so we've updated sketch 3 there. I'm going to right click and update the extrude. Edit feature, says the bottom connector, and this is going to be height minus wall. Actually, we created a bottom connector height, didn't we? There's more than one way of doing it. Bottom connector height, yes. And we put that formula in for bottom connector height. Click OK. And the last item is our rectangular pattern. We're going to go edit feature. Okay. This is going to be bottom connectors per row minus 1 times connector spacing. So open a parenthesis. C per row minus 1. Close parentheses times connector spacing. Tab, and this is bottom connectors per row for the quantity. All right, click OK. We have now converted each and every one of our items in the timeline to our parametric design. If I go home and modify, change parameters, let's change our top row to 3. Click OK. There, it works. All right, hope you do well on this.